Yo, so in this video I'm gonna go through my sub 7 pound, it's I think around 6 pounds, super ultralight kit for fast packing and backpacking. So yeah, let's get into that. First, here I'll start on the outside and then make my way to the bottom, and you'll see also how I pack. But we have the So Fast. This is a new bag that we are dropping. By the time you see this, pre-orders will be opened. So pre-orders for this bag open June 8th, and then they close at June 15th. So if you want this for cheaper than what it will be sold at, then place a pre-order. It's 25% off, but I'm not here to sell you on it. But yeah, so on the outside of the pack, we have wind pants. These are just Amazon dance pants. They're like 70 grams. They're very durable, add a lot of warmth, and they're super cheap. So that's why I have them. Obviously I can go lighter and get like the Montbell Tachyons, or I think Enlightened Equipment have some, but I've yet to find something of this value. I'll probably end up replacing it with something a little more fashionable potentially, but till then, that's what I'll be using. On the main pocket here, I have my rain jacket. This is an Arc'teryx Norvin. All rain jackets kind of suck. I'm gonna work on developing a rain jacket that I think will be a much better, much more versatile design that doesn't wet out, but it won't be breathable. Just a lot of mechanical ventilation. I think that is the better route to go for rain jackets, but if you're fast packing, you're probably going to be running, and so like a big poncho tarp is going to be less ideal for running or wind. So instead of bringing a wind jacket and a poncho tarp, I'm just going to be bringing a rain jacket. On the back panel, we have an 1/8 inch foam pad. It's not a Gossamer Gear one, but it might as well be. It's like 50 grams. I use this as a sit pad, a little yoga mat if I feel like I need to stretch, as well as underneath my inflatable sleeping pad, just if I want to protect it, which I do because it's pretty expensive, and I don't want to pop it. That would suck on a long trip, having to go through all that and try to find the hole and then fix it. So I'd rather just prevent that, carry an extra 50 grams, and yeah. It also is on the back panel of the bag, so it kind of acts like a frame. If I have anything pointy in here, it won't bug me or irritate me. On the vest, I just have bear spray with a little whistle that's attached to the bag, and then a 1 liter Katadyn Be Free. These are great. I don't know why more people don't use them. So much easier than to have like some separate filter that you have to squeeze and be at the pond for a few hours. The next best thing is probably using bleach. I've yet to try that, but eventually, if I feel like going even lighter than this, I probably will. If I feel like bears aren't an issue, I'll probably skip the bear spray and bring 2 500 milliliter soft flasks, depending on the water access. But the Solomon soft flasks, the ones I have the XA filter, I believe it's called, which is basically the same as this. And then obviously I'd carry my phone on the front, maybe the rain jacket, and then second last thing on the outside are my trekking poles. These are the Likey Evo Trail FX1 TA. These are so much better than other trekking poles. Main reason, especially for running, is that there's these gloves here and they link into here, and so if you like have to use your hands, you can use them without letting go of the trekking poles, and if you like fall or whatever, like they'll still be attached. It's just a way better system. The main flaw though is that they're non-adjustable, so you have to get the right size for yourself, and that could be problematic if you have a trekking pole tent. Okay, the last thing on the outside is just a first aid kit. I'll probably make another video going through exactly what I carry in my first aid kit, but I'll just go through it quickly. So We have repair, little Ziploc, seam sealer, gear aid tape, Dyneema patches. That's basically it for that. A little fire starter with some waterproof matches. This is also repair, so here I have the little nail clippers. If your nails grow too long, that'll be really annoying. And then this is probably like one of the cooler pieces of gear. This is the Gear Swift number 11 scalpel with thread. And so if I get a tear or something, I can sew it. It has a little needle and some thread. And then this knife I'll use for cutting leuco tape or bandages or whatever. And then, yeah, nail clipper, and then I believe this is by Gear Aid. It's a bit of duct tape, and then some redundancy with thread and a needle. I probably don't need to bring both, especially considering that this is like a super ultralight kit, but it's only like 10 grams or something, so I don't know. Might as well. It's nice to have a knife as well as some duct tape, so that's why I kind of bring both. Then some bandages, and then like a space blanket bivy. If I do end up getting cold, I can always use that. Probably won't be getting cold because this is mostly just for summer. And then leuco tape as well. Leuco tape is so much better than bandages, and in most cases you'll probably just end up using leuco tape than over a band-aid or something. But inside the pack, by the way, no Velcro. Bags with Velcro is just stupid because you're gonna be wearing Alpha Direct and that'll catch and then that'll rip your Alpha Direct. Little poop kit. We got the SUL 46 trowel. I think this is the smaller one, or the smallest one that they make. Next is my tarp. Inside this little bag is 5.5 foot by 8.5 feet or 9 feet, 0.67 ounce camo tarp. This is one that I made, and then we have some, I think 4 mini groundhogs, and then one of those 2-gram carbon stakes. Those are super cool. I'm sure you've probably already seen it. They're kind of buzzing right now. But I will probably end up just taking 2 or 3 groundhogs and maybe a few more of these eventually when I get around to buying them. And then we also have guy lines, obviously. That's about, the tarp itself is around 140 grams, and the guy lines are about 50, and the stakes are around 20 to 30 grams. And then my cook kit. So actually, before we get into the cook kit, we just have a little ditty bag. So we got the Alpenglow pad inflator. This is lighter than the pump sack that pads come with. It's only 10 grams. Cord, USB-C to USB-C, to pair that with the Nightcore 6K battery bank. This is also a little bit of redundancy. I probably don't need to bring this, but if I am bringing this, I'm probably bringing a little bit of note paper just to take notes and write things down or whatever I want to do. This is the Gear Swift's, I believe it's number 60 scalpel with pen, so pretty sharp knife. Can cut tomatoes, or if I have any like avocados or anything, I can do that. And then also a pen for taking notes. And then it comes with a little pin as well. I think that would be good for popping blisters, but I lost it. And then probably the lightest torch headlamp on the market. This is what Jupiter Hikes uses. This is the Rory Vaughan Aurora A5. It's glow in the dark, it has a red light, and it's super bright. The problem though is that doesn't last very long, and so that's why I have this in case I do need to charge it, but also I'm going to be mindful of not staying up too late or hiking in the dark. And then a mini lip balm and an igneous bidet. And this weighs around 80 grams, 90 grams, and then this knife weighs like 5 grams. And then I think the Rory Vaughan flashlight weighs about 15 or 13 grams. So still pretty light, even though most would say just skip the battery bank if you're going super ultralight. But I'm trying to balance being able to take videos and use the pad inflator, and just in case I need to recharge the flashlight. That's why I have that. And then, okay, the cook kit. This is, I've said it before, but no one talks about this. This is my favorite little system that I've seen and used. So it's just a 110 gas canister and then an Evernew Thai 400 NH. It's 400 milliliters, which if I'm just boiling water, then it's gonna be super light. I've even cooked like chicken and rice with this, and it's pretty good. It's not quite filling enough for myself, but if it's just boiling a freezer dried meal, it's perfect. And then this is the stove, spoon, toothbrush, and lighter. So for the spoon, I have the Tokes short with the toothbrush attachment all together. This is 9 grams, and for the pot and the lid, this pot is around 35 grams and the lid is 13 grams. So much lighter than the average Tokes setup. It's about half, maybe a third of the average weight of a Tokes setup. And then I have this band. This band uses it to hold the lid together, but I can also put it on the top, and so instead of taking a pot lifter, I just make sure that I grab this silicone, and it's usually bearable. Sometimes it might be too hot if I let it boil, but you only need like 70 degrees in order to rehydrate meals. So I used to have a sticker on it that shows the temperature, but it burned off when I was cooking, so I'm gonna have to replace that. And then little toothpaste tablets. I can bring exactly how much I need and bring nothing extra. A mini Bic, and then the classic BRS 3000. Okay, next in the bag we got the Nura Shake Sweater, 60 GSM. On their website they listed as 67 GSM. I think that's because Polartec, the brand that makes Alpha Direct, sometimes it's pretty inconsistent with the actual weights of the fabric, because you can get a lot of I forget what this is called, but fraying, wear, and it ranges quite a bit based on per roll. So I've heard from people who make these things. So that's why it's 67 GSM. And then that's basically it. Now it's just the sleep system. So I use the Tensor Elite regular. So it's 20 inches wide, about like 180 centimeters long. It's perfect, very minimal. I'd like to get the wide version, but I don't know. I don't know if it's worth an extra $50, and I already have that, so I probably won't end up switching it. And then I have a bug bivvy. This is Myog. I made it. Uses, I forget, this is I think 0.9 ounce SUL poly as the bathtub floor. And then we have Argon 49 as the top with 0.5 ounce Nauseam mesh. Altogether, this comes out to around 130 grams. And then a pillow that I haven't really seen online before, but they sell it at Gear Trade, the local ultralight store for myself. And this is the Gram Flex Light pillow, I think it's called. It's used in hospitals, so there's a straw. It goes into this hole or whatever, and then you just blow it. This is actually a new piece of gear for me, so I'm gonna test it out, and it might deflate throughout the night, so I'm not sure how it'll work, but this is only like 10 grams or something. And like I said, this is just my super minimalist, as light as possible kit. I can get lighter for sure. We'll talk about that later, but this isn't going to go on every single trip. A lot of the trips I'm doing is just a couple days, not super far, with people with heavier packs, and we're going to be like getting to camp early, so I'm going to be bringing a chair, bringing a more hefty cook system to make better food. But yeah, this is just for super ultralight fast packing. So we got the pillow, and then my quilt is the Catabatic Flex 22. I love this thing. It recently got kind of wet, so I'll probably need to wash it, but I have no complaints at all. I think it's around 730 grams, so it definitely could be lighter, especially since most of my trips will be in the summer. I'll eventually get a 30-degree quilt or false bottom bag, but for now this is like perfect from shoulder season to summer to alpine to wherever. It's really a quiver killer, as they like to say. I don't really feel much of a need to upgrade, but yeah. So that's everything. That's all my gear. Now, where can I go lighter? I can save this rain jacket that I use. The Arc'teryx Norvin is around 200 grams. The lightest jackets that I've seen are around 100 grams, and those are 3 layers. They're waterproof, breathable, so I can go lighter there, save like a quarter of a pound. I can go with a smaller tarp or switch this out for a poncho tarp altogether and ditch the rain jacket and just take a wind shell like the one I'm wearing currently. That'll save probably, well, depending if I put out the rain jacket and what wind jacket I get, that'll save another 100 grams. So another quarter pounds, we're down to half a pound. I definitely don't need to bring this. This is a little bit of luxury. That'll save 50 grams. If I felt like it, I could just cold soak, save probably 70 grams with the BRS mini bic and the pot, and just take this spoon and like an ice cream tub. That would save quite a bit of weight. Obviously, if I should have mentioned this earlier, but I'll be hiking a lot in bear country, and so you notice I don't have a bear bag. I do have an Atotech grizzly proof 9-liter bag. It's perfect. I really like the ease of use of just like tying it around a tree, not having to throw a rock over a branch and do a bear hang. But since this is my super ultralight kit, I'll probably just bring some extra rope and put everything, all my food in this bag, and then throw it over. It's made of Ultra 200, so it's like really hard to chew through for rodents. And then also with the running vest style straps, and like since I'm running, I'm probably gonna have gels and then a bunch of snacks, and I'll just be putting the garbage in here. I've been on trips before where people put their garbage in these kind of pockets and then mice chew through it, so I don't want that to happen. So I'll probably just hang this entire bag with all the food and the cooked stuff in there. That'll be like probably the lightest solution, and then I'll probably just have like an odor-proof bag, Ziploc bag as well. Now, where else can I go lighter? Those are the big ones. I prefer counting trekking poles as worn weight because they're in my hands most of the time and on the ground half the other time. So I could go lighter on these. These are pretty heavy. These are like 500 grams a pound all together, 227 each. So I could definitely go lighter there. The first aid kit is definitely pretty heavy. It's about half a pound, 200 grams. I could for sure ditch the bivy. It'll just depend on the trip whether or not I do that. I like the extra security and the just in case, because I've definitely been in moments where something like this has been helpful quite a few times. So I think I'll keep that, as well as like the orange if worst case comes to worst and we have to get a helicopter or something. The orange is very visible compared to the very monochromatic rest color scheme that the rest of my gear has. Those are the big ones. I can obviously skip the power bank and the pad inflator and just inflate the pad with my breath. And obviously I don't need this. I could just take something like this or a Nemo switchback, but I'm probably never gonna do that. I might try it out just for a video, just to see what it's like, but I really don't think I'll ever be into that. So inflatable sleeping bag is a non-negotiable for myself, but I could just inflate it with my breath, skip bringing this, depending on this trip, skip bringing a portable charger and a cord, and by that point, I'm probably in the 4 to 5 pound range. But I think this is a good balance for myself for comfort and security. The only argument that you might say that I might not be warm enough because I'm in the Canadian Rockies, which is a valid argument, but my sleeping bag is 22 degrees Fahrenheit, so -6 degrees Celsius. That's usually as low as it gets in the summer in the mountains here, depending on where I am. But if I'm feeling cold, I'll just get into my sleep system, get around with my quilt, put on my my rain jacket and my Alpha Direct, and I should be good. And I'll probably only bring this system from July to August, because in September and in May you can get lows of -5 pretty regularly, especially if you're higher up in the Alpine or on a lake or on a beach or something like that with a lot of wind. But yeah, that is my super ultralight kit for 2026. Thank you for watching. If you have any other pieces of gear that you think I should replace another with, or that I should take a look at, or maybe something I don't need. Obviously, another thing I forgot to mention is the bug bivvy. I could just go super hardcore and just bring a bug head net, but I don't think I'd like that. I'll try that too for a video. But yeah, I doubt I'll like that. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you have feedback, if you have thoughts, if this is close or completely different from your gear list, let me know. The goal of this video is to really show you how little you do need. Like, the most expensive bits are the tarp. I mean, it's Dyneema, so it's pretty expensive, but I made it, so all in it was probably like $300. This sleeping pad, $300, and all the prices are in Canadian. The bag, I'm gonna sell it for $500, but 25% off is around $390 or something. And then the sleeping bag, which was like $800 or something. So if you're gonna spend any money anywhere, it's your sleeping bag, and then it's your backpack, and then it's your pad, and you don't have to get it all in one batch. There's probably better, cheaper options to rain jackets than what I have here. The Frog Togs I've heard great if you're not expecting a lot of wind, or sorry, a lot of rain. And a lot of these options are pretty budget. Like this, if you're in Asia, you can get this pot for pretty cheap. I think it's like 30-40 bucks. If you're in Canada or US, it probably gets a little more expensive. But yeah, it's all in together. This is probably around like $1,500 to maybe upper thousands, so like 2K max for all of this, which if you go backpacking a lot, it is definitely worth it. And yeah, it's so light that like you want to go backpacking and you want to go further and you want to explore new places. So if you're not already in the sub 7-8 pound range, let this motivate you to get there. It's very doable. You don't have to sacrifice too much. I can't even think of like what I'm sacrificing here. Maybe it's the pillow. I'll maybe switch this out for something like the Big Sky International or the Inline Equipment Cloud UL that I already have, which is like an extra 90 or 50 grams depending on which one I go with. But even with that, like, it's not a lot of sacrifice at all. So yeah, take a look at your gear, see what you can take from this video, and I will see you in the next one.